Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to continue talking about the Onan generator. Now the other day I did a video and that was basically centered around exercising the generator. And I went ahead and I wasn't sure how long to exercise it, but I exercised it that particular day around 45 minutes. Now the mantra has always been to exercise it for about an hour under load, but there's never been anything real specific. So one of the things I love about YouTube is that when I make a video, I also get comments back. And one of the comments I got, I'd like to read to you. And this is a comment from Roger Z 8051. And I thank you, Roger, for putting this out. Basically, what Roger says is check your Cummins manual for specific directions on recommended exercise frequency and duration. You'll find it says to run it for 2 hours under at least a 50% load, A single 2-hour exercise period is better than several shorter periods. Okay, and then he goes on to make a very good point. After all, the engineering and technical staffs at Cummins responsible for those recommendations have years of experience seeing their products perform in real-world conditions. So basically what Roger is saying is that in the manual it states this, and that's probably the best advice to follow. Now the thing is that I went through my manuals that came with the Travato and I couldn't find an Onan manual. I found a quick start guide, things of that nature, but no manual. Now I'm going to have to go through my literature again to find it. It may or may not be in there, but what I did do is I went online and I downloaded the manual, and I'll put a link to that in my comments below. And this is what it says. There are 2 points I'd like to bring up. The first being a break-in procedure. The break-in procedure on the 2800i is this. Start the genset and apply a load of 50% of its wattage capacity. Now the wattage capacity of the 2800 is 2800 watts. So half of that is 1400. The Truma system, if you run the Truma heater on EL2, you are using 1700 watts. If you run it on EL1, then you're using 850. So 850 times 2 is 1700. With that said, if you want to run the Onan generator at half wattage, which is a good load of about 1400 watts, well, you can run your Truma heater at 1700 watts on EL2, and I believe that's close enough. That's a pretty good load for the Onan generator. So back to the break-in period, it basically goes through, it says run the set with this load for 2 hours. And then it says increase the wattage load to 75%, which is 2100 watts, and run the set for another 2 hours. So that's the break-in period. And you can read more about that when you download this manual, which I recommend having, because not only does it list things of this nature, but it also lists the maintenance schedule and all that. Now, with that said, there is, as Roger stated, a gen set exercise, or excuse me, a generator set exercise is what the title of it is. Here's what it says, verbatim. Infrequent operation of the genset can allow harmful moisture to condense in the engine. Moisture accumulates because the engine does not run often enough to reach normal operating temperature. Also, fuel in the carburetor will evaporate and leave deposits that can cause hard starting and unstable running. To prevent harmful moisture accumulation and fuel deposits, run the genset at 50% capacity, which is 1400 watts, for 2 hours every 4 weeks. A long exercise period is preferable to several short periods. So that's basically what Roger said earlier, but this is more specific. So that's the way to go. That's the way I'm going to do it from now on. And I highly recommend you to do that as well. Now, in my video, I did state I'm no expert on this matter. And I'm glad I found this manual. As I said, I'll go ahead and put it in the links below. You know, a lot of us, we just stumble along and try to do the best we can. And I know that I have seen the common thought was run it under load for 1 hour. And this is really enlightening. I will say that in my video, I did mention about burning off the fuel in the carburetor, you know, getting new fuel in the fuel lines and whatnot. But I didn't think about the moisture. And that's something that is huge. So definitely pay attention to this. I also would like to point out another thing in this manual. And this is the maintenance schedule. And the most important one is that, here's what it says: oil change. Perform the first oil change after the first 20 hours of operation on new generators. After that, it's every 100 hours. So after 20 hours of operation, go ahead and do an oil change, and then you don't have to worry about it for another 100 hours. So that's in the manual. So that's about all I have for this one. I just want to say that it's great getting this advice from people who are watching my videos, and I'm happy to pass it on. We all want to have a good running generator, of course. And with that, I'd just like to say, if you like this video, feel free to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. All the best to all from Chipper's Island Adventures, and happy harvest.